Matthew McConaughey and his wife Camila Alves have been Hollywood's golden couple for years. They are charming, successful, and don't seem to be able to split up. Even though they smile and walk the red carpet, their marriage has had problems that not many people would guess. She has finally broken her silence at age 41 and told everyone what really happens behind closed doors. The story you're about to hear will shock and open your eyes. It includes an unexpected fight with Matthew's mother and personal details that could forever change how you see their relationship. What did they think? Did this news break them apart or make them closer? You won't want to miss what Camila finally says about their marriage, so stay tuned. The Hollywood love story sets the scene. In 2006, it was the first time Matthew McConaughey saw Camila Alves. This was the start of a love story that quickly won everyone's hearts. He was already one of the most eligible men in Hollywood, but when he met the beautiful Brazilian model and businesswoman, everything changed. They hit it off right away, starting a romance that is both honest and beautiful. It's important to note that McConaughey and Alves were able to keep most of their relationship out of the tabloids while they worked on building a strong basis for their future together. There was nothing about the red carpet or the fancy galas this time. There was a lot more going on between Camila and Matthew than just respect for each other and obvious chemistry, though that does help. From the start, they seemed to find a balance between each other. Matthew's easygoing, carefree personality balances out Camila's more serious, family-focused view of the world. And together, they formed a relationship that could handle the fame and attention of the public while keeping their personal lives very secret. In 2012, the two lovers finally got married in a small wedding at their home in Texas. This made their love official. 2 of their 3 kids were already born. By then, Vida and Levi had taken the first steps toward building the close-knit family they had always dreamed of. McConaughey often said that becoming a father had changed him, but Alves was always there for him when his work was going well and his personal life was bad. From the outside, the marriage looked great, but every marriage has problems that creep up from time to time. People have loved them for as long as anyone can remember, and the love seems like it can't be broken. But the forces that most people can't even think of are there. Having jobs, 3 little kids at home, and the complicated relationships in their family have all put a lot of stress on their marriage. Still, up until now, it looked like everything was making Matthew and Camila love each other more. As Camila finally comes out about the truth about their marriage, everyone who loves the golden couple of Hollywood wonders what goes on in that world behind those close actors. It seems like fate brought them together, but how did it all start? Let's look back at the time when Matthew and Camila met. How they met, an important event. For Matthew McConaughey, it was just another night out. He had no idea that it would become the night that would change his life forever. Matthew saw Camila Alves across the Los Angeles club in 2006, and they fell in love at first sight. Or that's the story. Reports and interviews with the handsome actor say that he was quickly drawn to the stunning Brazilian model and how confident and beautiful she was. That wasn't the case, though. What interested him was that Camila didn't think of him right away as a movie star. Instead, to her, he was just another man in a room full of hopeful men trying to get the attention of a girl. McConaughey moved right away. As he usually does, he walked up to her and smiled at her, which started a discussion. This didn't happen to Camila, though. To keep the mystery alive, she kept her cool and wasn't ready to fall in love with a Hollywood star, just because he was one. This made Matthew even more interested, and things got better as time went on. Camila turned out to be so different from everyone Matthew had ever known as the night went on. People might describe her as brave, smart, and modest. In this city that pretends to be primitive, all of these things make her stand out as a unique person. Even though they may have met by chance at first, Camila's presence quickly turned things from a surface level to something deeper. He liked her because she was honest and shared morals that were similar to his. Not because she was pretty. From that night on, their relationship took off like a rocket. Matthew and Camila made it work, even though they had busy lives and were in the spotlight. Something as simple as a chance meeting at a bar turned into a love story that will last forever and become one of Hollywood's most beloved stories. The spotlight on the public. How fame can make you feel. Everyone in Hollywood has to deal with the odds that Matthew McConaughey and Camila Alves did. The day that the affair became public, they were once again in the spotlight of the cameras. This wasn't a surprise since Matthew McConaughey has been a star and lead man for a long time. But this new focus on his personal life and his connection with Camila made their lives more complicated. The couple was always calm in public, but trying to balance being famous with a private life is much harder in real life. Camila's life changed a lot when she had to live in the spotlight. As a beautiful model and businesswoman, she was used to being in the spotlight sometimes, but never on the same level as when the media went crazy over her relationship with Matthew. They had to deal with tabloid stories, paparazzi who never stopped, and public scrutiny every day. Fans and the media reveal everything about their relationship, from how they raised their kids to how they got married. It puts so much stress on many Hollywood couples that they break up. But this wasn't true for Alves and McConaughey. They found a way to keep the press from writing about their personal lives. Matt, who came from a grunge rock and straightforward background, always talked about how they and Camila tried to keep their personal lives as simple as possible. When they did go to parties in Hollywood, it was mostly to get away from the glitz and glamour of Los Angeles so they could spend more time with their kids. Their new home was in Texas, which seemed like a more normal place to raise their kids, away from the constant eye of Hollywood. Because of this choice, the pair was able to stay together despite all the drama and chaos in celebrity land. There were times when the stresses of fame got to her. While Matthew and Camila watched TV, there were rumors of relationship problems, false reports, and endless rumors about their marriage. However, they were not upset. Their only strength was each other and what they stood for. They sometimes got help from their family. They have learned to stay above water while bringing life to the public eye, which at first glance seems like an empty land. Demonstrating that love does grow, even in the harshest and strongest light. Family life, taking care of 3 kids together. Matthew McConaughey and Camila Alves talked about their families all the time. Levi, Vida, and Livingston, their 3 children, have made their lives full so far. Everything in their lives changed when they had a child. Matthew and Camila both worked hard to raise their children in a loving and stable way. Even though they lived a glamorous and interesting life, the parents made sure that their kids had as normal a life as possible. This was not easy because they were famous. Everyone in McConaughey Alves' family has always taken turns taking care of things. Matthew talks a lot about how he has changed from a Hollywood bachelor to a loved father since he became a dad. This dad is dedicated to his kids, as shown by the way he acts as a dad, from teaching soccer to being there for the little moments that matter the most every day. Camila also helps keep the family life warm and organized by working full-time and having children at the same time. One of the most important things to Matthew and Camila is that their kids learn good morals. They were always willing to teach their kids how important it is to work hard, be kind, and be thankful. They make sure their kids are connected to the real world no matter how much they travel or spend time at their home in Texas. They usually teach their kids to give back by doing volunteer work. Even though they are rich, they keep their kids grounded. Though Matthew and Camila have found their groove, it's not easy to raise 3 kids while working full-time and being in the public eye. Being a family gives them strength, which is also one reason they've been able to build their life around morals even though Hollywood puts a lot of pressure on them. Family is always the most important thing to them. Behind the scenes, Matthew McConaughey's unusual way of life, other famous people give in to the glamour of fame and enjoy their luxuries like things that show how successful they are. But Matthew McConaughey's always done things his own way. A man who doesn't like ornaments and other flashy things and instead tries to live as naturally simple a life as possible. He traveled across the country for years, even in an Airstream trailer, and loved the simplicity of living on the go. This nomadic way of life wasn't just a short-term thing for him, it was part of who he was as a free person who loved exploring new places. When someone lives a life like Matthew's, especially when it comes to Camila Alves, they have to get used to a pace of life that is probably very different from what they are used to with this busy woman. She loves that he is simple, busy, and outside, but it wasn't always easy to mesh those things with having a young family. Camila is very busy with her work, and she and Matthew sometimes had to walk a fine line between keeping things stable for their young children and embracing Matthew's more spontaneous nature. The couple learns how to make it work, and Camila often goes on trips and adventures with Matthew so that they can stay close no matter where life takes them. Matthew's life was marked by an all-or-nothing attitude. He turns down big-budget movies to work on projects that are more in line with his own beliefs. He thinks the same way about other parts of his life as he does about acting. It's either all or nothing. His attitude of putting personal happiness ahead of money has helped him get through the ups and downs of his career. When it looked like they weren't sure from the point of view of someone else, they have formed an alliance because they understand each other and accept each other's quirks. Even though Matthew's carefree way of life might go against the norm in a traditional family, it's exactly this attitude that keeps the relationship fresh and fun. The way their worlds, I mean his free spirit and her groundedness, have become intertwined has been very important to their long-lasting relationship. By making the trip work, they showed that love doesn't have to be in the right place at the right time. And sometimes the road less taken is the most rewarding one to take together, not the one shown in movies. But as their family grew, a new problem came up that caused sudden stress and put their relationship to the test in a way they didn't expect, and his mom. Even in families that are very close, tension can build up. Matthew McConaughey's wife Camila Alves talked about it more with his mom, Mary Kathleen McCabe. Though McConaughey's always been close to his mom, Camila didn't like how close he was to his mom after she met him. Camila and Mary Kathleen were not always on the same page because they were a normal mother and daughter-in-law pair. They had a disagreement that turned into a bigger fight that shook up the family. Reports say the argument started because they had different ideas about family customs, parenting, and even Matthew's way of life. Because Mary Kathleen was so protective of her son and had a very strong will, he was the center of all attention. When Camila joined the family and started making her own place, the balance changed, which caused problems. Both women had different ideas about what was best for Matthew and the family. The stress kept rising until there was a big fight where everyone felt torn. Matthew was stuck between the two people he cared about the most, and this heated argument would hurt him a lot. It looked like this would cause a permanent split in the family for a while. Matthew was having a hard time finding the right mix between his love for his wife and his love for his mother. It wasn't a fight over personalities, it was a clash of values and expectations that brought up problems that had been kept quiet. Even though this fight was very hard, the family was able to get better. In spite of never really getting along, Camila and Mary Kathleen found a way to get along for the sake of their family. The big fight didn't break Matthew and Camila apart, instead, it made their relationship stronger. After going through one of the hardest times in their marriage, they came out stronger and more dedicated to each other and their family. This event not only made Matthew and Camila's friendship stronger, but it also taught them important lessons about how to talk to each other and set limits. Matthew learned more about how important it is to set clear boundaries between his relationship with his mother and his relationship with his wife. They were able to live together peacefully by talking things out and respecting each other. They also knew that cooperation and understanding were important to keeping their family together. Matthew and Camila were able to start over with a stronger foundation thanks to their improved balance. This shows that love can bring people together at the last minute, even if they fight sometimes. What really caused the fight? After years of building stress in the background, Camila Alves and Matthew McConaughey's mom, Mary Kathleen McCabe, finally fought in a way that will never be forgotten. Those waves of silence had been building for a long time, but this fight showed many more deeper problems than anyone had thought. It was a fight for power at its core. She had been the most important person in his life for years. Camila, Matthew's bride, was pulling her away from that place. She was now the center of his life's power battle, and she could no longer ignore it. I was very angry during the fight, and some painful truths were finally told. Again, Camila talked about how she felt slighted and unappreciated for being Matthew's partner and the mother of their children in more than one story. She talked about how Mary Kathleen had often brought up comparisons to Matthew's upbringing, saying that certain family traditions should be followed, which didn't quite fit with how Camila and Matthew wanted to raise their own family. But strangely, Matthew's mother talked about how weak she was, as if the closeness she felt with her son was being taken away as he got closer to Camila, so Matthew was stuck in the middle and had to make a hard choice. He thought that the gap between his mother and wife could never be closed forever, and that they needed to be stood up to. Matthew told his mother the truth when they were alone together. His marriage to Camila was the most important thing, and from now on, he needed everyone to accept the choices he and Camila were making as a couple. That took away her control over the family, and finally set some limits. The fact that she talked about the fight wasn't just a surface-level thing, it was a very deep truth about her marriage. She said that this fight made Matthew and Camila face problems they had been putting off previously. The fight between Matthew and Camila brought them closer, showed her family that no matter how crazy things got in the family, the love they had for each other would always be there. The fight itself didn't end things, it changed things. Camila and Matthew started talking about the future of their family, including their children, in much deeper ways than before. They talked about how they would handle relationships in the future. This fight turned the marriage around, plus how they dealt with outside forces that tried to hurt their relationship and how they turned those forces around to help their relationship. They learned how important it is to stay together and not break up because of what other people, even their closest family members, said. They both knew that the theme had to be marriage and family, which meant that respect for each other had to be at the center. They learned the hard way, but it made their relationship stronger and more stable. Camila and Matthew felt more linked and in sync with each other than at any other time in their lives. What Camila told him that shocked everyone about their marriage. Camila Alves told it like it was, straight from the heart, that her marriage to Matthew McConaughey wasn't as beautiful as it seemed to the public. Even though they loved each other, were connected, and shared many beliefs, their marriage had its ups and downs because they came from very different worlds. What goes on behind the scenes, though, is Camila talking about the real problems they had to deal with while letting her fans in on their famous life. But she had no idea that these problems would put their relationship to the test in ways she never thought possible. One of the most surprising things they learned about their lives is how tense things are with Matthew's mother, Mary Kathleen. The fights with Mary Kathleen were not one-off events, they were a sign of how hard things were for us as a pair. Camila said that the most important thing her marriage taught her was how to mix being a part of the family with being strong and having her own voice in the relationship. As a way to describe herself, she said that she was stuck between being herself and being the partner Matthew needed. She was already under a lot of stress, and she was also thinking about how living in the media would affect her. The most surprising thing to me was how open Camila was about the times she really wondered if the marriage would work. There were some holes in her relationship with Matthew that hadn't been fully talked through before the fight with his mother. During times of doubt, she wondered if they could handle the difficulties of life while also meeting the needs of each other's families and growing as people. Camila said that even though they had worries, they used them to get closer and have honest conversations about the problems. In the end, Camila's statement was a win, not a loss. She said that going through all the hard times together made their marriage stronger than ever. Camila and Matthew were able to grow from their fight because they talked to each other honestly, respected each other, and were committed to each other. In that moment, she said, things began to go badly when she and Matthew's mother got into a fight. They had to change their priorities and put more emphasis on what really counted after what she called a turning point, how much they love each other, their family, and the future they will have together. Was the fight bad for their marriage? Of course, the public fight between Camila Alves and Matthew McConaughey's mother, Mary Kathleen, had a big effect on their marriage, but in ways that were more positive than negative in the end. To begin with, the fight caused stress in the family and between Camila and Matthew. Matthew had to constantly balance being loyal to his mother and his wife, which was never easy. Instead, there were times when their friendship was tense. All of those problems came to the surface during the fight, making them face some painful facts about their marriage. In the end, this fight made things worse between them and Camila, and Matthew used it to help them grow. Instead of making them fight, it made them talk honestly about setting limits, family roles, and what their top goals were as a couple. In many ways, Camila's choice to set limits showed Matthew that she really wanted to be treated with respect and honor. It also showed him that he needed to treat her that way. He pretty much stood behind Camila the whole time, which was a big step forward for the pair when they learned to set clear limits with Matthew's mother. This kept the marriage safe from the opinions and influences of their friends. An immune system that was both smart and strong was able to handle what could have been a breaking point. Matthew and Camila found out that their fight was about more than just not getting along. It was so that the team could grow together, even when there is conflict in the family. Their desire to work through their problems instead of around them made their love and commitment to each other stronger. In the end, the fight only made their bond stronger. Stand together and help each other through one of the hardest times their families had ever been through. Matthew and Camila got through this hard time stronger in their love for each other and with a better understanding of each other. They learned through experience that love and friendship can't be broken, even when family gets in the way. Then there were the years after the war, when Matthew and Camila learned to value each other's strengths more. They learned how to work together better after dealing with his mother's anger and finding out how their family worked. Matthew had a lot of respect for Camila because she wanted to protect their marriage and family even when she was feeling very upset. Camila knew that Matthew had been there for her even when his mother didn't want her to be there. This understanding made their bond stronger and informed them of what their relationship was built on: respect, love, and strong support for each other no matter what problems they may be facing. No matter how tense things were or how hard things were, the real question stayed: could their love really last through everything? Everyone would be shocked by the answer. A love that lasts is stronger than ever. Even though Matthew McConaughey's wife caused a lot of trouble, he and Camila Alves came out better than ever. Even though it hurt, the fight was a good thing that taught them a lot about the world, how to talk to each other, and setting limits. And help without conditions. They were going to stage it instead, though. They were not going to let the outside forces tear them apart. Instead, they were going to strengthen their promise to each other to show that real love could handle anything. In the long run, it made their relationship stronger because Matthew was determined to face the problems instead of fearing the arguments that would make things worse. They had a big change when he decided to work on his marriage and set real limits with the mother. It was then that Camila realized her voice did matter and that this relationship was based on mutual respect. They became stronger for each other and their family after this new reaffirmation of their bond. It was the turning point in their relationship. Matthew and Camila made it through the war, which is good to know. In fact, did very well afterward. They held on to each other tighter than ever after what happened. With their love life at the center, they learned how to deal with the complicated parts of family life. In turn, their strength would come from being able to face the attack inside them because they had shown that no matter what comes at them, they can handle it. Now we can say that Matthew and Camila's love is an example of strength and love that lasts. They showed it. Having a real base of trust and a way to talk to each other makes a big difference, even when you're a Hollywood star and everyone is watching. There is more to this story than just love. They learned to understand each other better and work through tough times together, which made them stronger than ever. They got stronger in their marriage and in how they could deal with problems that might come up in the future by the end of their rough patch. Matthew and Camila now knew that they could work through any problems that came up, whether they were from family or from outside sources, as a couple, and still put their love for each other first. They've built a relationship where they don't avoid hard talks but welcome them as ways to grow together. Their marriage feels safe and complete because both of them are mature and understand each other so well. This shows that true love is not perfection, but toughness, teamwork, and a promise to stay together through life's storms. Thanks for seeing. The story of Matthew and Camila shows that even the hardest things can bring two people closer together. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to our channel if you like this movie. Sign up to get more stories like this sent to you. Check out the next show on the screen before you leave. We have more interesting material coming your way. We'll see you next time.